I deserve better than this. This is not what I want for me in partnership. I am not going to superimpose myself upon somebody that doesn't want or celebrate me. I do, wish and hope for the best.
Oh, it's good to see Lauren. I really missed her. And I'm happy that she's back with Jono, even though we know that Jono is now dating Ellie. Oh, that's something else. And then Lucinda and Timothy. I didn't expect that. I really didn't expect that. And I am heartbroken. I'm heartbroken. I was hoping would get sort of a continuation of what happened after, but it seems they'll be jumping onto the other three couples that are left tomorrow. So, hey, it is what it is. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight Australia, Season 11, Episode 31. I'm here for Timothy and Lucinda. Because all my other favorite couples have gone home. Anyway, so you know, it's the day after the commitment ceremony. People are sort of decompressing from the events of the commitment ceremony, and Sarah and Tim somehow are in a happy place. And for me, I still don't buy it. I still do not buy it. I don't get how they went from her not liking him, then to suddenly her dating him, then to the rumor about her cheating, then they're back on. No, I think it's all a performance. You have Timothy and Lucinda having a conversation. I think I get where Timothy is coming from, because he was holding a lot in, and then suddenly it's like what do you call it? A pressure cooker. You release the pressure, and it seems the pressure keeps coming out without any break, and so there is going to be exhaustion. I think he's going to be so depleted that he's letting go of baggage and is not getting enough time to sort of process it, digest it, and sort of see if he's done with it, and then he moves on. It seems to be one after the other and the other and the other. And so I get where he's coming from, that he feels depleted. He should be emotionally exhausted. He should have had the breakthrough about his dad. Yes, that makes sense. But it seems he's had the breakthrough about his dad, the realization that Lucinda is the best person for him, the fact that, he didn't appreciate her and he wasn't his best self when he came in. So I get where he's coming from, and I like the fact that Lucinda said to him, we will move at your pace. I'm not going to set a pace for us. We will move at your pace. And I think she more or less was telling the producers that we're not going to continue to force this man to have breakthroughs. We're going to allow him to process whatever he's feeling. You can say Tim is gone. Tim really likes Lucinda. Yes, he talks about respects her, but I think if he has enough time to digest, he's going to realize that, oh, actually, he might be falling in love with her. Whether it's romantic or whether he's falling in love with her as a member of his family, that I do not know as yet. But I can see a future for them if they keep going the way they are. I can see, because Lucinda comes across as very selfless. She's not focused on what she's doing for this man, but she's focused on making sure that this man is the best version of himself that he can be. And she's focused on sort of encouraging him, supporting him, cheering him on, and complimenting him on things that she feels that this is a breakthrough. You had, all the couples talking about Jaden and Eden. And for me, Jaden and Eden, there's been a lot going on there. I think with some of these couples, they're sexually attracted to their partners, but emotionally there's nothing there. And for me, it's starting to be a question of, is Eden really emotionally attracted to this man, or was it just the sex? Because he's always said he really likes her, he's falling in love with her, but she's sort of always been vague about her emotions. They did sort of have a conversation, and she gave a wishy-washy apology, and for me, that's not it. That's not it. I wish she had done better. That's just what I'm going to say. She should have done better. She should have apologized. I'm so sorry, Jaden. I know I have trust issues because of the cheating for my boyfriend, and I know this is a very short process, although it's a very stressful situation. And so at times I tend to sort of go back into my bad habits whereby I'm judging you as compared to my ex-partners, instead of judging you as you present yourself to me to be. I'm sorry if you feel like I sort of try and stifle you, and I try not to allow you to express yourself. I will try and learn from this, and anytime you feel me doing it or you notice it, just let me know, and I will take a step back and allow you to express yourself. I appreciate you saying you want the producers, you want the experts to help us. Yes, it comes invaluable, because long term it will help our relationship grow and help us be the best versions of ourselves. I think she should have apologized, something along those lines, instead of her just saying, I'm sorry, And it's like, well, are you really sorry? Anyway, we have everyone preparing for homestays, and Tori's all giddy and excited. And it's like, why are you excited about this man? Why? This man doesn't like you like that. You need to sit down somewhere. Hopefully, homestays will help her open her eyes, and she'll be able to see this man for who he is and not who she wants him to be. So you have all the couples getting ready to go, and they're leaving their apartments to go to their home turf. And suddenly Jaden is looking for Eden, and it's like, what happened? What happened? Eden, I think, thought she ran the relationship. This is my thing. And I think Jaden sort of exposing her to the experts, that she gave him an ultimatum, I think didn't sit well with her, and she didn't know how to address that. And this, I think, is why she's taken a step back, because she wants to try and regain control of this relationship. It doesn't make sense that she would go away and not come back or pick up his calls, knowing that they're supposed to be going for homestays. That doesn't make sense. I hope John on the couch on commitment ceremony is really going to hold her feet to the fire, because I think someone else in the comments noticed that they really didn't hold her feet to the fire. They just brushed over whatever she did and then moved on. So I can't wait to hear her explanation as to why she didn't go home with her husband. I'm looking forward to that. And so the first people to be shown on homestays are Jono and Lauren, because Lauren was already at home, so Jono is the one who went home. And you can see she's excited. She was really anxious and looking forward to seeing him. He seemed excited to see her. I think for him, I don't know when he started liking Ellie, so I don't know whether there's still anything romantic there, although they said they were both back to their intimacy levels. So it will be interesting to see what happens as they progress. I want to know when they call things off. That's what I want to know. I want to know when Lauren and John call things off and he decided to date Ellie, because it doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't, because outside of the fact that he didn't defend her when it came to Jack, he's tried to be the best partner he can be. So I don't get where they sort of fell off. And I was hoping to hear a bit of a gossip session, or maybe the producers decided not to show it. And even the producers, from the producers speaking to Lauren, you could tell they were excited to see Lauren. She must have been a ray of sunshine, and they must really have enjoyed her honesty, her brutal honesty. So it was cute to see them reunited and sort of catch up and seem to be very comfortable around one another. But as we know, it's not going to be long term anyway. I'm really trying not to laugh. Because next up is Lucinda and Timothy. They go to Timothy's apartment, and they were in Byron Bay, so I would assume they had seen Lucinda's place already, because there's no point in the crew and her and Timothy being there and them not filming and then having to go back again. So I would assume they filmed and then they just took it and said, if you are still on the show at that stage, we'll use it. If not, that's it. So they get to Tim's place, and Tim's place reminded me of, if you've watched Married at First Sight UK, no, not UK, US, then you know Jeff T. And Jeff T's house, when Shanice went to see it, reminded me of Timothy's place, or Christine from Grey's Anatomy when she took Burke to her place, because it was, she initially was embarrassed to show him, and then eventually, and it was so untidy. And so to see Tim isn't tidy. I think Tim has just been going through this, the formality of life, just waking up, working, going out to see friends, coming home, looking after his dogs. I think everything, he's just had to do it just because he has to do it. And I think with the new Tim that's come back home, I think things are going to be different, whether he's with Lucinda or not. I think he's going to care more about his environment, the setup, that is tidy, that his dogs are well trained. He's got everything in his apartment. It's not like he doesn't have everything. He's got a, what do you call it, a little jacuzzi outside. He has his orchard outside. He has, his office in his lounge. He's got his sitting area and this massive TV. So it's not that he doesn't have the things. I think he just didn't care about himself or love himself enough to give himself an amazing environment to live in. And so Lucinda was, she did laugh at some of the things, but you have to laugh to stop from crying, because you can understand that this is someone who was going through life and didn't love themselves and was just, self-sabotaging relationships, maybe doing things, stopping himself from certain opportunities just because he just didn't see the value in sort of rewarding himself. And so I think with the new Tim coming home, He's going to be more aware of his environment. Lucinda is going to be amazing for him. Whether or not they stay married, she's going to help him sort of continue to get his life back in order. And so the fact that she started unpacking and was hanging clothes in this, cluttered wardrobe was something to see. I hope while she's there, she helps him sort of clear up, and he sort of comes up with a program, especially for his dogs. Maybe get a dog walker. I don't know whether they have those in Australia, and sort of that sort of thing. And I think he will be a better version of himself. On the bright side, it's good that she was able to see that this is where this man lives, and it's not like some woman came. It would have been bad had he hired cleaners to come in, professionally clean it and spruce it up, and then if they stay together after decision day, he starts being his messy self. So at least she got to see it at its worst, and she'll be able to help him, just as she got to receive him at his worst, sort of bring his environment to where he is now as a person. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, but I like it. I really love them, and I really love their progress. Oh my god, I think this is the beginning of the end for Eden and Jaden, because Jaden got there and Eden still hadn't arrived. She arrived 3 hours later, and when she arrived, I think she just wanted to brush over and just continue moving and pretend like nothing had happened, because she didn't even apologize. Well, I think she apologized, but she quickly moved on from her apology for not making the flight. And then they went out for a chat, and she's apologizing after Jaden tried to explain that, we've had little fights and we haven't really addressed them. We've just brushed past them, and things were starting to pile up. And so because we weren't addressing them, I want us to address them. And she went, well, I'm sorry. I don't want to rehash anything. Once I say I'm sorry, that's it. Let's move on. And it's like, it's okay for you to move on, but you can't force the other person to move on if they feel that they're not being heard. Allow him to speak his truth. If you agree with him, hooray. If you don't agree with him, hooray. Because what are you saying I'm sorry for? What are you apologizing for? She didn't sort of clearly articulate what she was apologetic for. So I don't get the apology, and I don't get the need to quickly brush past and move on to the next part of, their relationship. Oh, I don't believe in rehashing things. The experts didn't say we should rehash something 10 times. It's like, seriously, where have you ever heard something to go wrong, someone to say I'm sorry, and then people move on without sort of learning from whatever caused the disagreement? Make it make sense? Poor Jono, also anxious when Lauren said her friend is just like her. So I was thinking, oh my God, they're going to eat him alive because he's very quiet. But her friend was a bit eccentric like Lauren herself. So I guess I understand why they get along. But then when they sat down and started talking, Jono was right to say, well, I get where he's coming from, in the sense that he says, as a youngster, I was very rebellious and I was very, out there. And then I just decided to calm myself down and to mellow myself. So I'm spent about 20 years sort of working on myself, understanding that I don't need to be the loudest in the room. I don't need to be very aggressive. And so this is why I am the person I am. And I agree that he mellows Lauren, and Lauren brings him out of his shell. And so the two of them would really have worked. I don't know why they didn't, but I think the two of them would really have complemented one another. Yes, at first sight, you might think, oh my God, she's a bit too out there. But then she is good for him because she's able to stand up for him. Like when Jack was attacking him at the table, she was able to tell Jack to back off because he doesn't want to be confrontational. And so I think in the right moment, if something really sets him off, he has the capability of actually going off. I don't think he's someone who would be very passive, that people can walk all over him. I think he's choosing to be passive, and people don't understand that it's his choice to do that. It's not that he can't have a confrontational incident with someone. It's just his choosing to be a calmer version of himself, and being a calmer version of himself, he's able to calm Lauren down, which I love for her. So Lucinda and Timothy meet up with these friends, and I think one of them is the one that came to the family meetup, the lady. I don't remember the guy. And so they're just having a conversation, and the lady is encouraging Tim that you are a different person coming back. You say you've now connected with your emotional self, and this is something good. This is something that we value. This is something that people like about you. And I'm so happy that Lucinda got to experience that. You need to show that side of Tim more, because a lot of people love that side of you. And I think it was good that they told him that it's not a sign of weakness, but this is how he's protected himself for years and years and years. And sadly, it will take a lot for him to sort of offload that baggage of not having to sort of try and be this hard man in certain situations, because as he said himself, he's got an amazing woman in Lucinda, and I hope he recognizes that. Anyway, Lucinda sits down to chat with Timothy's friend, who tells her that, you know, Timothy likes to be a protector, he likes to be a nurturer, he likes to be caring, you know, for his woman and stuff. And I think for him, I think for Timothy, when he saw Lucinda, she wasn't the type of person that he liked, because I think he was put off by the crystals and the chanting and everything else. And then he was looking for a way out, so he kept looking for mistakes and mistakes until her dad sat him down and told him the truth about himself. And then from there, having the revelation, you can see he wants to take care of Lucinda, but Lucinda has also seen him at his most vulnerable place. And I think it's sort of, this is why he doesn't want to stay in there, because he wants to come out of the vulnerable place. He wants to be Tim, you know, the person who doesn't care, who doesn't have any feelings or emotions, because he knows Lucinda has won his heart. He knows that for a fact. And if she turns around and says no, this will be heartbreaking for him. And I don't think he has the tools or the capacity to sort of deal with that. And I think this is why he continues to be standoffish. Do I think he likes Lucinda? Yes, I do. Do I think he wants to care and protect her? Yes. Because every time now he speaks positively about her, and he always says, as of now, I value her. As of now, I cherish her. I appreciate her. As of now. And so I think he's trying to take it day by day. Unless he understands that, you know, Lucinda is a permanent fixture in his life, or is a long-term fixture in his life, then he's going to do the things that his friends say he's able to do for his other friends. I think with the other people, it's always been, you know, he's felt that he needed to be caring, protective, compassionate, so that those people stayed. But I think with Lucinda, it's a different type of feeling that, yes, he wants her to stay, but emotionally, he's now bound to her. So he's sort of trying to navigate that and understand what he needs. And I think at this point, Lucinda needs to set guidelines for him as in what she expects from a relationship. Yes, she's been there, she's been supporting him, she's been allowing him to be his best self and to do everything that he wanted. But at the end of the day, she cannot abandon her needs, her wants, just because she's trying to help him sort of overcome what he's going through. She's done a lot of heavy lifting. The least he can do is sort of take a moment and look at her and think, what does she want? What does she need? What do I need to do in order to make her feel valued, cherished, cared for, protected, you know, those sort of things. And I think this is what they're coming up to. So I can't wait to see what happens there. So you have Jaden and Eden go to Jaden's parents for a barbecue. And so while they're there, is anyone surprised? Anyone? Please, anyone. I said it before. Did Mavs sign a contract with Mitch to say that if his brother comes on the show and marries someone, then Mitch could come back and revamp himself? Which is it? Anyway, so they're having this conversation. You can see the anxiety. You know, Eden is saying that I don't want us to bring up anything because we've already moved on. I see this being a long-term thing, and I don't want to paint a bad picture with his family there. And it's like, well, if you didn't want that, maybe you should have addressed it with Jaden before you came to the party, because he did ask you to have a conversation and you shut him down and said you didn't want to revisit anything. And so you knew that his family were going to ask questions. Had you hashed whatever the issues were, then you'd have been on the same page with Jaden, because Jaden still feels some type of way. And his brother kept asking him these probing questions, wanting to find out what's going on. I think he wanted to see if there's any problems. And eventually he had to pull Jaden aside. And it's true that she is controlling him. And now it's very evident. Before she was able to get away with it, now it's very evident, because Jaden feels unheard. He feels, you know, stifled, as though, you know, he's being shut down. And so I'm not surprised that he ended up confiding in his brother that this is where we stand and this is what is happening. And hopefully, seeing herself on camera, Eden will learn a thing or two. Even issues with Jaden, she'll learn something about how she behaves in communicating with her partners and how that can affect her relationship. And hopefully she'll be the best version of herself as a result of watching herself, you know, trying to sort of control Jaden. His brother to say, oh, I wouldn't let a woman control me, blah, blah. Maybe that's why you're still single, buddy. I don't know. Is he single or not? I don't know. Anyway, he has no right to sort of judge a situation where he doesn't have all the facts. And so I think he's had his time on Mavs. He needs to sit down somewhere and allow his brother to shine. This is his brother's moment, not his. I'm here for Lauren and Jono. It's cute to see. It really is cute to see how well they're getting along, how much they complement each other's lives. And the fact that Lauren was quick to say, yeah, we had sex. And it's like, oh my God, TMI, TMI. Jono was very vague, but they seem very comfortable around one another. And they seem to really like one another. Especially, I love the fact that Lauren said she got someone she needed, not someone she wanted, but someone she needed. And so she's seeing the benefits of having Jono in her life. Obviously, we all know that it ended, but hey, it is what it is. At the moment, it looks amazing. Timothy and Lucinda is really sad. It's really sad because, well, Timothy has been struggling since they got home, because the man that left to go to the experiment is a totally different man that came back. Yes, physically he looks the same, but emotionally he's a totally different person. So coming back to his environment, I think he's having this struggle of the man that he was and the man that he is. So eventually he asks for a timeout and says he's going out for an hour, doesn't come back until a couple of hours later. And so Lucinda taking him for a chat in a neutral environment was good. But at the same time, I feel like Tim is struggling to understand or to accept the person that he is. He knows, he left the experiment knowing that Lucinda was the best thing to ever happen to him. He left the experiment having let go of certain baggage. And so coming back home to the same environment, instead of him sort of embracing the new man that's come home, he sort of tried to sort of go back to the person that he was. And sadly, whoever he met up with and sat down with didn't give him the tools or the equipment or sort of the know-how in how to sort of work on his relationship. And his friend telling Lucinda that, you know, Tim is a nurturer, he's a protector, he's very caring for the woman in his life, has just sort of put a spanner in the works. Because Lucinda was right to call him out, to say you went out for an hour and didn't come back. I don't want to feel like I'm imposing myself on you when you don't want me to be around. So that makes sense. And so for him not to sort of acknowledge that and apologize, I sincerely want to apologize, Lucinda. Since I've come back a different person from the person that left to come to marry you. And because of that, I'm struggling. I really am struggling to sort of balance those two people out. So it's sort of a constant battle, and this is why I need a timeout, just to see if I could sort of process what was going on and come back to you a better person. I want to apologize. It's not that you're not welcome in my environment. It's not that I don't want you to be around. It's just I'm constantly in this battle, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to sort of get over it. I think the other thing is he's worried that if he continues to open up to Lucinda, Lucinda is going to leave him. Sadly, Lucinda has moved on. And she is moving on. Apparently, there was an interview I saw where he said he and Lucinda speak several times a day. They have video calls and stuff. So I don't know if he's able to ever redeem himself, because I don't think she deserved that. I don't think Lucinda deserved that. And I think sitting down, Tim will actually acknowledge that she did not deserve for him to walk away from her and say, I'm taking an Uber, I'm going back home. Because you're leaving her in the middle of nowhere. She doesn't live in this town. She doesn't know anybody else outside of you and the production team. What do you want to happen to her? Yes, you are upset, but that doesn't justify you sort of abandoning your guests. So I didn't like that, and I can't wait to see what happens. I think maybe if we're lucky, we'll see them at the dinner party, or maybe Lucinda's done and she's gone home, and I hope she finds what she needs, because she's really done a lot of work. She really has done a lot of heavy lifting for someone who was not being paid for that. And so I don't know, I have hope for them, but we'll see. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 30. Bye guys.